A new threat is rising in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A villain far more powerful, intelligent, and skilled than even the mad Titan, Thanos. That villain is Kang the Conqueror, and the most dangerous thing about him is that he's already won. Those unfamiliar with Marvel Comics may not know Kang the Conqueror too well outside his brief appearance in Loki. He's not as big of a name as Thanos, Ultron, or the other big hitters that have appeared so far. Despite his lack of notoriety, Kang has still distinguished himself as a powerhouse in the Marvel Universe. For today's video, we'll be explaining everything there is to know about Kang the Conqueror, his origin, his powers, abilities, and his most notable feats which make him so dangerous. Kang has a long and violent history in Marvel Comics, so we have a lot to cover. Let's dive right in and explore the story of Kang the Conqueror. Origin of Kang the Conqueror. Understanding who Kang the Conqueror is can be somewhat difficult. Kang has taken on many different identities during his time in comics. That, combined with the insane amount of time travel he's done, can make it hard to get a grasp of who Kang is exactly. But we do have some concrete information about Kang's not-so-humble beginnings. Firstly, we know that Kang doesn't originate from the Earth 616 universe that we all know and love. He was born on Earth 6311, a reality where humanity never went through the Dark Ages. Because of this, technology had advanced greatly, and large-scale warfare ravaged the world far into the 30th century. Eventually, this constant war was ended by a time traveler named Nathaniel Richards, the father of Mr. Fantastic. Nathaniel brought about an era of peace and prosperity. In this peaceful 30th century, the man that would become Kang the Conqueror is born Nathaniel Richards. He was named after the same Nathaniel Richards that saved his world. According to some records, he is also the distant relative of Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, and possibly Victor Von Doom himself. Kang was born with an important legacy. Even though he came from a famous and powerful family, Kang was still a self-made man. Literally, when Nathaniel was 16, a future version of himself that had already become the supervillain Kang intervened in his life. This future Kang showed Nathaniel all of his conquests and his many battles with the Avengers in the hopes that it would push him to villainy earlier than intended. Unfortunately, this plan backfired on Kang. Instead of embracing his dark future, Nathaniel attempted to reject it. He used Kang's suit to travel back in time to the modern 616 universe and prevent his transformation into the Conqueror. While in the present, Nathaniel decided to form his own Avengers team called the Young Avengers. He modified Kang's suit to resemble Iron Man's armor and called himself Iron Lad. For a time, Iron Lad operated as a successful superhero until his presence in the modern era started to alter history. Eventually, Kang arrived to retrieve his past self and explained that Nathaniel was causing reality to fall apart. The Young Avengers were able to defeat Kang, with Nathaniel actually killing his future self. Sadly, this didn't prevent reality from breaking and threatening the lives of his friends. With no other choice, Iron Lad returned to his reality and time to fulfill his destiny as Kang. As Nathaniel grew older, that future began to unfold. In his adulthood, Nathaniel found a time machine and traveled back to ancient Egypt on Earth 616. Once there, they quickly began to be worshipped as a god by the ancient people and conquered Egypt. He adopted the identity of Pharaoh Rama-Tut. He ruled as a god for a time until the Fantastic Four arrived. Rama-Tut was originally able to defeat them and even turned Marvel's first family into slaves for a time. They eventually broke from his control and defeated him. Nathaniel was forced to flee from the past. He attempted to return to the future, but ended up being stranded in the present instead. While there, he encountered his potential ancestor, Dr. Doom. Nathaniel was inspired by Doom, so he decided to abandon his Pharaoh persona and take on a new identity as the Scarlet Centurion. Together, the two of them took on the Avengers and attempted to take over the modern era. Ultimately, the Avengers managed to defeat the villains and forced Nathaniel to once again flee in his time machine. Just like before, Nathaniel tried to return to the 30th century, but was sent too far forward. Nathaniel found himself in the 40th century. This era found itself in another apocalyptic war, where barbaric tribes fought one another with high-tech weaponry that they had little knowledge of. Just like in ancient Egypt, Nathaniel used his superior understanding of technology and advanced weapons to conquer the local people. With their technology, Nathaniel created an unstoppable battlesuit fitted with an armory of weapons. His conquest didn't stop at a country this time though. Nathaniel easily took over the entire Earth and then the whole galaxy. His intergalactic war campaign earned him the name Kang the Conqueror. Being the sole ruler of an entire galaxy wasn't enough for Kang though. His multiple defeats at the hands of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four constantly occupied his mind. This humiliation motivated him to once again return to the modern era and try to conquer the present. This sparked Kang's seemingly never-ending war with the Avengers and his campaign to rule the present. Nathaniel Richards had taken on many identities: Iron Lad, Rama-Tut, the Scarlet Centurion, and Kang the Conqueror, just to name a few. Although Kang is his most well-known persona, it's hardly his last identity. In order to learn the mysteries of time and become immortal, Nathaniel traveled to Limbo, a timeless dimension. Within Limbo, he was recruited by the Timekeepers, a group of immortal beings that protect the timeline. Nathaniel agreed to be a servant of the Timekeepers and undo many of his time travel messes. For one final time, Nathaniel adopted a new title: Immortus. If that's not confusing enough, it gets even more complicated. While in Limbo, Nathaniel diverged into two separate beings. One chose to serve the Timekeepers and become Immortus, and another decided to reject this destiny and remain Kang the Conqueror. The two divergences are in a constant battle against one another throughout all of time. Not only did Kang kickstart his own origin, but he's also his own greatest enemy as well. Before we continue unraveling the legacy of Kang the Conqueror, be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload, and smash that like button for some plot armor today. The powers of Kang the Conqueror. Nathaniel Richards has fulfilled his title to the letter. He's conquered thousands of worlds and multiple versions of the future and the past. Kang has done all of this with practically no powers at all. Unlike many of Marvel's greatest villains, he's not an Asgardian god, a killer robot, or an alien deviant. He's a normal human, which makes him all the more special. The thing that makes Kang such a deadly opponent is his super genius intelligence. As we've mentioned before, Kang is the descendant of Reed Richards and possibly Victor Von Doom. Regardless of who Kang's ancestor truly is, both men were considered two of the smartest people of their time. Nathaniel seems to have inherited that intelligence and used it for his never-ending conquest. Kang's genius has allowed him to perform some very impressive feats. His first was being able to build a fully functional time machine from blueprints left by his ancestral namesake. This time machine was able to take him thousands of years into the past or future. Kang's most impressive invention is the iconic battlesuit that he made in the 40th century. This suit has allowed Kang to single-handedly take on all the Avengers at the same time. It gives him superhuman strength and durability to a high enough level to go toe-to-toe with some of the strongest characters in Marvel. Kang has endured attacks from the likes of Thor and the Silver Surfer with little to no damage. The suit responds to Kang's subconscious thoughts, which means all he has to do is think about it, and it'll happen. The battle armor has a built-in time machine, which allows Kang to manipulate time at will. Not only can he time travel, but he can also send his enemies through time or rapidly age objects to dust. Space-time is nothing more than Kang's plaything. Kang's suit also comes equipped with several gadgets and weapons that have decimated the Avengers. He can manipulate the weight of objects and people. Kang once made Thor weigh as much as half a planet. He can produce powerful lasers and concussive blasts from his fingertips, not to mention the ability to generate deadly radiation from his mask. The battlesuit also allows him to summon any weapon he wishes from almost any era of time. This means that no matter who he faces, Kang always has just the right weapon to take them down. Even without his battlesuit, Kang is still a terrifying threat. Kang has invented a robot called the Growing Man that increases in size with every hit. This robot has proved challenging to powerful heroes like Thor. Kang's inventions and robotics far surpass anything developed by Tony Stark or Dr. Doom. Kang's intelligence isn't just limited to inventions and science. Nathaniel Richards is probably the greatest strategic mind to ever exist in the Marvel Universe. He was able to conquer the entire galaxy within a single lifetime in the 40th century. Even with his technological advantage, a feat like that requires a truly brilliant military mind. You can go so far as to strip Kang of all his technology and weapons, and he'll still put the beat down on super-powered individuals. Kang was able to beat the Super Soldier Enhanced Patriot in hand-to-hand combat while also taking on all the Young Avengers at the same time. He did all of this without access to his suit. To emphasize his complete dominance over the universe, Kang keeps a trophy room at the edge of space-time, where he stores keepsakes from all the heroes and villains he's killed by hand. Just some of those people include Iron Man, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Black Bolt, and the Silver Surfer, with no powers. Kang the Conqueror's greatest moments. The thrill of conquest is the main thing that motivates Kang in life. Conflict and war are what excites him and gives his life meaning. The first time that Kang time traveled, it was because he had grown resentful of the peaceful 30th century and wanted to test his abilities. No victory ever seems to be enough for this time-traveling tyrant. Every conquest just pushes him to take more and expand his empire further. Taking over the past and the far future wasn't enough for him. The modern era, aka the Age of Marvels, has always been the one time period outside his grasp. Every time he tried, the Avengers or the Fantastic Four always got in his way. Except during one storyline, he finally achieved that goal. Kang the Conqueror is the first Marvel villain to ever physically take over the world. During the Kang Dynasty storyline, he used his futuristic army to invade Earth and obliterated all of Washington, D.C. With the Avengers defeated and Earth defenseless against his onslaught, Kang easily conquered the planet. Eventually, Kang was defeated and the Earth was freed, but he still accomplished something that no one else was able to do. Despite appearances, Kang isn't all about warfare and bloodshed. The ruler does have a softer side that he shows to only a select few. One of those few is Princess Ravonna Renslayer. During Kang's conquest of the 40th century, the kingdom of Corellius was the last bastion of civilization defiant to Kang's empire. During the war, Kang became infatuated with the kingdom's princess, Ravonna, and became determined to win her heart. Although Ravonna was originally resentful of Kang, she eventually came to love him and even sacrificed her life to save him. Later on, Ravonna was revived and returned to Kang's side. The two of them continued to have a very strange love-hate relationship. They often betray one another and even go so far as to kill each other at times, but they always find themselves back together. Kang's love for Ravonna is deep. going so far as to allow her to rule his empire in his stead when he's away. Ravonna is both Kang's right-hand man and the knife in his back, scheming to take everything he owns for herself. The perfect image of a healthy couple. Despite Kang's love for Ravonna, she isn't the only woman in his life. Part of Kang's ultimate goal isn't just to conquer all of reality. He wants to prove that he's the greatest person to ever live, too. In order to fulfill that goal, Kang has been closely tracking a historical record of a figure called the Celestial Madonna, who was destined to give birth to the most powerful man in history. To satisfy his ego, it became Kang's primary goal to discover the identity of the Celestial Madonna and ensure that he would be the father of that child. Out of all the extraordinarily powerful women in the Marvel Universe, the Celestial Madonna was revealed as none other than Mantis, the alien empath. Kang, alongside multiple different versions of himself, would try repeatedly to kidnap and marry Mantis. The variants would often battle against one another to earn the right to sire the destined child. All of their attempts failed, however. Mantis was eventually married to a different man. After the wedding, the couple transformed into pure energy, putting the Celestial Madonna outside of Kang's reach. The real kicker to this is that the wedding was officiated by Immortus, another alternate version of Kang. It's fitting since it continues the trend of Kang being his own worst enemy. If Kang couldn't be the father of the most powerful man in history, he would have to make do with his own son, Marcus. Failure and disappointments are things that Kang can't abide by. These high standards apply especially to his son, Marcus. Despite Kang's immense ego and pride, he's more than willing to surrender both his life and empire to a worthy heir. Kang has hoped that Marcus would be that heir. Marcus has fallen in his father's footsteps in almost every way, even going so far as to take on his former persona as the Scarlet Centurion. And just like his father, Marcus also found love, which motivated him to betray Kang. During the Kang Dynasty storyline, Marcus fell in love with Carol Danvers, Warbird at the time. He assisted her in freeing the Earth from Kang's control. At the end of it all, Kang was content to die and allow his son to take his place, but Marcus made the mistake of saving his father. Kang refuses to let a traitor live. Kang showed his son the corpses of 22 former versions of Marcus, who had all been killed by Kang because they were unsuitable heirs. Kang had organized a harem of genetically ideal women and produced children with each of them. Each of these children was named Marcus and was trained to be the perfect warrior. With each failure, he killed his offspring and sealed them in a private chamber. With no remorse, Kang once again murdered his son and prepared to start again. Even family isn't safe from Kang's wrath. In terms of personality, Kang has a lot in common with his potential ancestor, Victor Von Doom. Both of them take great pride in their intelligence and believe themselves to be superior to everyone else around them. Sometimes that pride can lead to their downfall since it often turns into overconfidence. Both Kang and Doom take serious offense to any perceived slights or insults against them. For years, Kang held a grudge against a teenage bully that hospitalized him when he was 16. This was the main motivation for him to travel through time and meet his teenage self. Kang wanted his younger version to take revenge on the bully, corrupting him towards evil. The similarities between Kang and Doom are probably the reason the two failed to get along with each other. Dr. Doom isn't the only ancestor that Kang shares characteristics with. His more heroic ancestor, Reed Richards, has formed an interdimensional council of Reeds, where dozens of variants gather to help solve some of the multiverse's greatest problems. Kang the Conqueror has his own version, where variants of himself gather to address multiversal issues. The difference between the Council of Reeds and the Council of Kangs is that the latter is used for more sinister purposes. The Council of Kangs meets to kill variants that they deem too incompetent or embarrassing to hold the title of Kang. They follow the belief that only a Kang can truly judge another Kang. the council wasn't very long-lived, as the judges inevitably started murdering one another. If you stick two Kangs in a room together long enough, they're bound to start killing each other. Kang the Conqueror is an egomaniacal tyrant with unending ambitions. At every moment, he is planning his next victory as he continues to add an ever-growing list of planets and timelines to his empire. What's worse is that somewhere out there in the multiverse, he already won. Because of his time travel abilities, it's practically impossible to permanently defeat him. Even death can't keep Kang down for long. Kang the Conqueror won't stop until he's the master of everything, every world, or every time. If the MCU version of Kang is even half as cunning, intelligent, or menacing as the one in the comics, then the Avengers are in a whole new world of danger. What did you think of Kang the Conqueror? How do you think he'll impact the MCU? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching to the end. Until next time, keep that plot armor on you. I'm Anthony Fan. Have a great day. Goodbye.